race car. Just tell me when you're rolling, Stu, because I ain't got all day.
I am.
Alright, welcome back everyone. My name's Owen, you know who I am. You've got two guys behind cameras. These are the two fellas that are filming today. We're actually here for a bonkers car today. Can you believe it? It's not this. No. You would think it was this. It makes about 1100 wheel horsepower. No, it's more mental than that. We're here to see a Nissan Navara road car. It's only 1000 horsepower. It's only a converted Nissan Navara with a GTR engine, a Dodson gearbox and four-wheel drive running gear. If you want to see something truly mental, here it comes. So, welcome back everyone. We've seen the intro, you know what we've got here. Briefly, we met up with a dude who you may know. This is Steve Baggsy, as you may know him, big in the drift scene. But we're here to see Nissan Navara today. I don't know where we're going to start with the spec on this car, because as you know, we tend to do a lot of custom stuff. I think the only thing that's left standard is probably the doors and the screen. Maybe, I mean like...
It's definitely difficult to figure out what is still factory and what we've played with. But yeah, doors, glass is pretty factory. I'd say the wing mirrors are almost factory, but Ken would put some nice cameras in the bottom of them.
Nice, yeah.
So we don't actually have stock mirrors anymore. But yeah, it's been 2.5 years of a lot of work, and yeah, we've come out with this pretty cool Nissan Navara R project.
I mentioned the phrase earlier, this car inhales attention. Like, it's a vacuum for attention, because even from 100 yards, it's screaming like everything about it is just, it's race car. I was looking inside a minute ago, it's got a full interior in it as well. So you could just gas it up and then just, I'm going to go and
I mean,
play.
when we sort of designed it, in my, 2.5 years, nearly 3 years ago actually now, in my head, I wanted it to still be very noticeably still a Navara, but I just wanted it to look like it had been sort of beefed up a bit, and I wanted it to look hard, and I just wanted it to have kind of, a really strong presence when it was driving on the road. I didn't want it to be over the top, but at the same time just be subtly desirable.
The phrase "over the top" is I don't know where you're going to apply that, but it's interesting you went for a double cab as well. I was thinking about that earlier, and it's I don't know if all the Navaras are double cab, are they? I don't know loads about them.
No, I think there is still a 2-door version, so yeah, you can get the. But I wanted, I've got a lot of friends, so I wanted to give them all rides in it. So
yeah.
Wanted the 5 seats.
Fill it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. What's it drive like on the road? Overall,
I've not done a huge amount of.
I don't know what it is. Every time we get the camera, he's on your head now. Every time. Yeah, sorry, mate.
We've not done a huge amount of driving on the road with it just yet, but we have driven it over in the Isle of Man. We took it for a lap of the TT course, which was amazing. We've done a little bit of driving around with it here, but we're still very much in the development stage with the whole project. We're still quite early on with it, but yeah, it drives pretty cool. It's fairly fast.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But it's still got a little bit more, like, we want to do a little bit more of this, with the suspension. We've got a little bit of work to do with the cooling, but other than that, it's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah, I mean, should we start front to back? Because I mean, there's a ton of stuff to work from. Do you mind popping the lid for us? Because we haven't seen under the bonnet of this yet, so I'm interested to see what's going to go on. I'm not expecting to see a standard engine. Billet intake. So it's got a billet intake manifold on it.
Yeah, so that is a one-off billet inlet manifold that our friends over at ADDICTS Fuel Injectors made for us. They are producing these now for the Nissan GTR engine. They allow you to have a third fuel rail with another set of injectors in it. This particular one gives us 12 injectors for this engine, just so that we can run even more fuel for the motor.
So it's still on V-Power, still a pump gas car.
We could run it on race fuel, and we still could, but we decided for now we'll run it on just normal road fuel. It's on V-Power from Shell.
Yeah. Are you at liberty to share what sort of power it's making at the moment?
It ran 940-ish horsepower on the dyno at the wheels. So obviously that's going to be, well over the 1,000 mark at the fly. We worked with a guy called Romain who tuned it on behalf of Cyvex, and he did an amazing job. The engine itself was built by a good friend of ours called Paul Cheshire. He's got probably somewhere between 160 and 200 hours in this engine.
Wow.
And the real credit probably goes to a guy called Phil at Wire Monkey, who did all the wiring on this whole truck.
I mean, wiring is
is
really hard to get neat, let's face it.
Well, it's not even just trying to get it neat, which he did do a very good job of. It's just figuring this out, because we're taking an engine from a car and trying to put it in this truck, and getting the whole engine and the gearbox to talk to each other and communicate correctly, and all the trying to get the Nissan Navara to talk to the engine, and it's been a huge undertaking to try and get it all done.
It's extremely tidy, and it's a stroker. It's a 4.1, is it? Did you say?
Yeah. So Brian Crowler supplied us with a stroker kit, so it's gone from 3.8 litre to 4.1.
Yeah.
Paul again took care of the engine, and he took care of all the getting the engine to the 4.1 litre and all the bits and pieces that had to be done. Supertech supplied us all the valve train stuff on the top end of the engine, and again Paul put all that together, and we were very lucky that again when we took the engine out of the Nissan GTR, when we built that into a drift car, we literally just had that engine bone stock sitting on a pallet for 4 years, and we were lucky that we could just hand that straight off to Paul. And he delivered us back 1,000 plus horsepower engine.
Stuff like this I'm looking at. I mean, is that a GTR item, or is it something you've adapted to fit? Or
no. So again, the Navara went over to our friends at Forge Motorsport, company I've worked with for coming up for probably nearly 10 years on my racing program, and they took care of the intercooler, the radiator, a header tank, all the hose, all the boost hoses, just took care of basically nearly everything. We worked with Samco to do all the hoses themselves,
and they're all I mean, they're not just like pick a random hose. I mean, these are designed specifically.
These are all custom made hoses, for this specific engine bay. Some of them come from the Nissan GTR, so some of the hoses they did have already made. But a lot of them were custom made for this engine bay, because obviously we're not plumbing everything the exact way it would be on a Nissan GTR.
I want to just touch on the body kit, if we could just go around the side, because let's face it, it's not a stock bodied Navara. You were saying earlier off camera that it was a one-off. There isn't another one like this.
No, so there isn't really a body kit out there for the Navara that I like the look of. There's a couple of arch bits and pieces that you can buy, just some basic bolt and stuff. So when we got into the project and we were working out how crazy it was going to end up being, that we knew we needed to put something together that was going to make it look equally as awesome as we kind of had planned for it. So we worked with a company called Sterling Automotive, and they 3D scanned a Nissan Navara and then completely designed with us the body kit on the computer in CAD and drew it all up. And then once we had that data, we sent it to a company local to us called APH3G, which is a fiberglass and plastic forming company, and they do a lot of different body kits and projects in plastic and fiberglass for various different manufacturers. And they made the molds and produced us the body kit. The wings, front and rear, are fiberglass. Side skirts were printed with a 3D printer. The top and rear spoiler was also 3D printed.
Wow.
The front spoiler and the little eyebrow things that we've got above the fog lights are also fiberglass. It was kind of a scary kind of moment in the project, because obviously when you're trying to design something on a computer, it always, I guess, looks a little bit different to
and you
reality.
never really know how it's going to turn out in the flesh, do you?
I always had a lot of confidence in the fitment, because the guys that were working on the project are A1.
Yeah.
But I was never 100% sure on on how it was going to look until we, you know, got it bolted up on the truck and we could stand back for the first time and see it.
When you do though, I mean, it's just absolutely, it's got such an amount of presence. It's probably 10 inches wider or more than a stock truck, you know.
Yeah, we were very lucky when we only got the first front wing on, which I think was actually the other side, the other wing, and we kind of got a feel for it, and we were excited.
Pretty happy,
we were like, yeah, that looks alright.
And how much does it weigh, I guess?
It's 2.1 tons. We have weighed it, so we know it's a little bit heavier than a stock GTR.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot more power than a stock GTR. So power to weight ratio, I'm hoping it should be up there with a.
And that was never the purpose to build the fastest thing, was it? It was a complete project that you were sort of approaching. You know?
I mean, once we went past sort of 400 horsepower, I think we've already built probably the world's fastest Navara.
Yeah.
But you know, we wanted to, you know, do something with the whole package that we had from the GTR when we built that into drift car, and you know, against all my urges, I just didn't sell the engine or the gearbox over the last 4 years and all the wiring looms that we had. So it kind of just made sense when, you know, lockdown happened to kind of.
You got the time.
Got the time. We'll start cramming it into.
You got the workshop for it, so you got the facilities, and you got some good guys behind you, from what you say. Good fab guys.
Yeah, got a brilliant team. Yeah. Here at SB Motorsport to kind of put this together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seemed really easy in my head. I just had to kind of buy Navara, and we already had everything in the workshop. Just had to kind of sort of make it come all together.
So you said to the team in there, yeah, we got the engine in the car, like, just make it work, like, you know.
Yeah. With some great partners, you know, some great help along the way. You know, some of the people that have worked on this project have gone above and beyond, and we're very fortunate. Even little things that I didn't mention, like the manifolds on the engine, they're done by Walton Motorsport.
I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, and they've done an incredible job to kind of cram those turbos right up the top.
Yeah.
We've got a pair of Garrett's 660 turbos on there, and you know, it's just how they've done it, and how they've made them even look so nice once they're done.
Yeah.
And get them to, you know, to work correctly.
Did you find they're a G660? That's the Garrett's latest
series,
range, isn't it? Yeah, and they
they
come on nice and quick. They're quite responsive.
I mean, they're really punchy.
Really? Just run through the drivetrain, just real quick. So you had custom wheels made, as you do, but from BBS.
So this year we started working with BBS. They're now under the KW Automotive umbrella. So ST suspension is also part of KW. So, you know, we were lucky that they brought all that together on this build. So we've got ST suspension, and we've got BBS wheels. They were a two-piece split rim that they actually welded together for us, because we were a little bit concerned about the amount of power that because, you know, this is over 1,000 horsepower with 2 tons of weight on it. So we've made them wheels as literally physically as strong as possible. So we're very grateful for them to be able to do that for us. Alright, so just to run through it all, so it kind of makes sense. When we got the Navara, we took the cab off, and we were left with the chassis from the Nissan Navara, which is just like a ladder frame sort of chassis. We stripped off all the suspension, and we were literally left with just the frame of the Navara, and then we set about taking the subframes, the front and the rear one, from the R35 Gtr and fabricating them into the Navara chassis, and then from there we got the engine sitting on it, and we got the rear gearbox, because the gearbox is in the back, sitting in there.
The gearbox is in the rear?
So the gearbox on the R35 Gtr is in the back.
I should know this. I don't know why I don't know this. So with weight distribution and everything, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's a dual clutch transmission gearbox, and it sits in the back, same as it does in the GTR, obviously.
Right, so okay, that makes sense. I get it. Right.
And the main reason we wanted all that to be in the right place is because we wanted to still use all the suspension from the R35 GTR.
Yeah.
So all the, you know, the wishbones, all the suspension, everything is from the R35 GTR.
Right, I see. Does it drive like a GTR is probably the question.
Yeah, it's a little bit longer, and it's a little bit wider than GTR. I think it will be very close once we've finished all the suspension development we want to do, just getting that, you know, everything sort of tweaked and made how we want it.
Yeah.
I have every confidence it will be definitely as fast as one.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it looks a little bit different to a GTR, let's face it. It's unique, that being said. I'm really interested to go out in it and have a drive.
Have a little spin.
Yeah, we'll experience it. I'm sure it's the quickest parts getter that we're going to get in at any point today. Far faster than my Volkswagen Crafter. So if you're okay, but we go out for a drive, that'd be really good.
Yeah, cool.
Cool, nice one. It's probably one of the very few times that I've been in a car with someone and had complete confidence in the way they drive or in their skill. Very quiet. Once the windows are up, it shuts everything, doesn't it?
Well, we kept a lot of the sound deadening in.
Yeah.
Wasn't too concerned about, from a weight perspective, that part.
Yeah.
We wanted it to still be, as I said with the aircon, we still wanted to have a few creature comforts,
And obviously you got a stereo as well, so you literally could drive it anywhere you wanted to. What's the furthest you've driven it?
Probably about now.
Okay.
I mean, apart from taking it to the Isle of Man and cruising it down there.
Yeah. You trailer it down there?
Yeah.
It's firm, but it's not rock hard, is it?
No, it's still quite comfortable ride to a certain degree.
Compliant. It's a bit of a weird sensation being in a pickup truck that accelerates like that, I've got to say. But you've got to remember as well when you're driving it about the width of it, because what you can see isn't everything that it's made out of. There's another 8 inches either side.
It's so wide, it's
Is there anything that immediately, like when you drive it, you think, that's definitely the first thing I'm going to do, like, over the next 6 months, what's your next primary thing that you want to change on it?
As I said, we want to just do some more development with it. We just want to address a couple of little issues we've got. We're going to just address like the engine bay temperatures are quite warm at the moment. We need to get some vents on the bonnet. I want to get the suspension tuned so that it's a lot nicer, ride.
Yeah.
Not that it's not now, but it's just there's so much more that can come from these KW coilovers once they're tuned correctly for what we're looking to do with it. So there's just, like with anything new that you build, there's just a development time that needs to...
Normally twice as long in development than actually putting it together.
Well, you never really know you never really know what the issues you're really going to run into with a new project like this until you actually go and drive it.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing, go and drive it, test it, fix what falls off, and
Let's face it, I mean, no one's like KW, no one's going to make off-the-shelf suspension for something like this either. So you've had a whole program of having to get that designed, I presume.
Exactly. It's got quite a nice downshift.
Isn't it just? Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
I'm presuming that's not an uncommon response.
No, I mean, we did drive it the other day take it for a bit of a test the other night, and we actually had people following us.
Just for photos and stuff, I suppose.
Just to find out where we were going with the truck, because they'd seen it online.
Unwanted attention then.
Hey?
A bit of unwanted attention
It's not the end of the world.
Joking when he said it responds fast.
It's quite lively.
That is really punchy. You've got to remember it's 2 tons at the end of the day. It is a Nissan Navara. It's not a race car. Have you ever, well, I suppose you haven't done that many miles in it, have you? So it's not like, you can't really compare it to anything else on the road, because have you actually put anything in the back of it and had to use it for the purpose intended? That is one question.
That will be a video that we'll make at some point, popping down to
go to the DIY store and,
picking up a few bits.
Feel the weight of it when it starts, when the road's a bit uneven.
Starts picking up a bit.
Oh dear. getting that fast at all. It gathers pace so quick.
Yeah.
Is it quite precise on the steering?
Very, yeah.
Christ.
It's very,
It's urgent, it comes on like that.
Where you point it, it's going.
Christ. I was surprised how quickly it picked up then. There you have it, that's a wrap. That is the most ridiculous car I think we've had on the channel. When I say ridiculous, I think it actually is. I mean, it's up there.
Professional, isn't it?
Yeah, it's expertly done. It's exquisite. In fact, it's one of the very few cars that you can't really pick a hole in it. The finish is absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, the English roads, like they are that big, and this truck is that big. So there aren't loads of places that you want to be pulling 2 tons with 1,000 horsepower really, really quickly. But you don't need that. I mean, it speaks for itself. The car is an absolute monster.
Beautiful.
Top to bottom. I mean,
Beautiful.
Thank you so much to Steve for having us down today. He's been very accommodating, because we can be a pain in the arse, Steve, when you're watching this back. But yeah, thank you so much, Steve, and all the guys for having us down here. And what an absolute, it's a token of what can be achieved when a lot of companies get together. So if you like that, I think, did we say this before? If you got something more mental than that, then we'd like to see it. Top that. If you can, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell where you can, and if you can beat that, I'm all ears.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my